Good evening. It's Tuesday, the 4th of August, and here's the day done by dark. Tonight, the market closed at a record, while the people who set interest rates are quietly arguing about raising them. Michigan is still voting as we speak, and Pluto has begun to lose its atmosphere. Start at the close because it was the biggest one in months. The Dow finished at 54,086, up 907 points, a record, and its best single day since June. The S&P 500 finished at 7,737, up 1.8%, also a record. The Russell 2000 set one too. The Nasdaq closed above 26,000 for the first time ever. Hear that precisely. First time is not a record. The Nasdaq is still 4% under its June peak. Now the part almost nobody has absorbed. Late last month, the Federal Reserve held rates where they are. That got reported. How the vote went did not. 9-3, and all three dissenters wanted rates to go up. The committee also stripped its guidance about the future out of the statement. Traders now put the chance of an increase in September at about 57%. The chair, Kevin Warsh, said high inflation has been an undue burden on American households. Hold that sentence. So why did the tape move like that? Oil fell again. West Texas crude settled at $76, Brent just under 80. Both down about 5%, both at 3-week lows, and this is the second straight day down. The reason given is a deal with Iran over shipping through the Gulf. 4 officials described that deal today in 4 different ways. Here they are in one afternoon. The Treasury Secretary said, "We are in talks with the Iranians, and there is a chance we may have a deal today or tomorrow." The Secretary of State said, "There has been progress, but not finality yet." Qatar, which is mediating, said the two sides are exchanging drafts, and that mediators are still working to create the conditions for a resumption of direct dialogue, meaning direct talks have not resumed. And Iran said no meetings with the United States are scheduled. Oil fell 5% on that. To the earnings, because last night was a loud one. Palantir rose 29.5% in one session, just short of the best day in its history, on revenue up 93%. Advanced Micro Devices beat on revenue and profit, guided higher, doubled its data center business, and fell after the bell anyway. And SpaceX reported for the first time as a public company. What broke the stock was what it spent, $18 billion in a single quarter, against about 13 expected. Now the thing that is still happening while you watch this, Michigan is voting. An open governor's seat, an open Senate seat, all 13 House seats. The polls close at 8 o'clock Eastern, which is after we finish, so we are not going to tell you who won. Nobody knows yet, and that includes us. What we can tell you is the scale. More than 1.2 million people had already voted before today, about 1 in 6 registered voters. And the Democratic Senate primary has drawn something like $60 million in outside money. One piece of processed news out of Michigan. The Justice Department said it is monitoring polling places in 4 cities. That is an announcement, not an allegation. No problems have been reported. And in Missouri, which also voted today, the map was the story. The Secretary of State rejected a petition to put the state's redrawn congressional map to a referendum, saying redistricting plans cannot be subject to voter referendums. Backers say they will sue. The deadline landed on Missouri's own primary day, with people already voting under the contested lines. To Washington, and a report that is really a banking story, Senator Ron Wyden released a 4-year investigation today. 67 pages titled, "Looking the Other Way." It says 3 of the largest banks in this country watched money move around Jeffrey Epstein for years and said nothing. J.P. Morgan Chase, Bank of America, Deutsche Bank, The number to hold is $170 million. That is what Leon Black paid Epstein, and Bank of America never flagged it. There was no response from the House. The House has already gone home, which is a good moment to say what Congress did before it left. The Senate voted 89-4 to begin work on a bill funding the government through the 11th of December. Note the verb, this is moving, not passed. There has been no final vote, and none is expected until September. But the date is the point. Funding through December pushes the next shutdown fight past the midterm elections. Also today, the Judiciary Committee advanced Todd Blanche to be Attorney General, 12-10. Now back to that sentence from the Fed chair, that high inflation has been an undue burden on American households. Here's where the burden lands. A gallon of regular gasoline averaged $4.10 last week. A year ago, it was $3.15. Energy prices are up almost 16% over the year. Gasoline alone, nearly 27%. Then health insurance. Insurers have asked for a typical increase of 15% for the year after next. 51 of them asked for more than 25. Exactly one asked for a decrease. And then there is food. More than 4 million people have come off food assistance. Enrollment fell from about 42 million to about 37 million in 9 months, under a new work requirement of 80 hours a month. In Arizona, it was not 11%. It was roughly half, more than 400,000 people. Arizona now has more people walking into food banks each month than it has people enrolled in the program at all. A woman who runs a food charity in North Carolina described what is filling that gap. Every church and grandmother making sandwiches on the corner, she said, is only the last 5%. Abroad, and both of tonight's items are arithmetic. In Gaza, the language of the plan moved. The Board of Peace said Israeli withdrawal beyond the current line happens only once Hamas has finished handing over its weapons, a reversal of its own earlier wording, which had the two moving together. Netanyahu, publicly, we did not agree. It is not our draft. In Ukraine, the arithmetic is interceptors. American stockpiles of Patriot missiles have fallen from more than 2,300 before the war to roughly 800. The companies that build them make fewer than 1,000 a year. And at home, the West is burning. The country is at National Preparedness Level 5, the highest there is. 99 uncontained large fires. More than 5 million acres burned this year. In Spokane County, Washington, more than 700 structures are gone and about 64,000 people have been evacuated. Air quality at 9 Mile Falls hit 604 on a scale meant to stop at 500. No deaths have been reported. Oregon broke its all-time record on Monday with 2 months of season still to go. Elsewhere. While the West burns, the Atlantic is doing nothing at all. Forecasters see no tropical development anywhere in the Atlantic, the Caribbean, or the Gulf for the next 7 days. The whole season has produced essentially one storm back in June, and it lasted 2 days. And Michigan reported the first deaths in the cyclospora outbreak, 2 of them. One last thing, and it is a very long goodbye. Pluto has started to exhale its last air. This was predicted 30 years ago. Pluto came closest to the sun in 1989, and as it moved away, its thin nitrogen atmosphere was supposed to cool and freeze onto the surface. It refused to. The pressure held steady for decades. Now it appears to be going. Amanda Sikafous of the Planetary Science Institute and her team watched Pluto cross in front of a distant star 10 times and found the pressure had dropped about 16% in 2 years. Pluto's year is 248 of ours. It will not start back toward the sun until the year 2114. Nobody alive tonight will see it breathe back in. What to watch tomorrow? The private payrolls report before the bell, expected well under last month. the tell ahead of Friday's jobs number. Earnings from Eli Lilly, Disney, Uber, and Shopify. And after the close, Zillow, which cut 500 people today. That's Tuesday. Records on Wall Street and a central bank arguing about whether to raise rates because the prices people actually pay will not come down. Rest well. We'll be right here again tomorrow evening to wrap whatever comes. Done by dark. Good night.